Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of 1818 Auctioneers based in the UK, and we're going to have a look at their latest auction, which is musical instruments and equipment. So just a small auction, this about 73 lots. We're just going to whiz through it and just see if there's anything interesting. I've not looked at it before, so no idea. Looks like it could be okay, nothing amazing, but you never know what you might find. So yeah, this particular auction is due to finish on the 18th of June. It's the 12th today, so a few days left to go on that. Looks like buyer's premium is 22.5%, which is fairly reasonable. As I said, this is an auction based in the UK, so if you're looking to buy something and you're outside of the UK, bear in mind shipping, import, export, and if there's any CITES restrictions, etc, etc. So yeah, it's probably going to be a fairly quick auction, so let's see how we go on. And just to say, if you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing, like or comment, because it really does help the channel and would be much appreciated. Okay, so what do we have? Let's see here. We've got a vintage Epiphone FT150 Dreadnought acoustic guitar with hard case, model Bard. 150 to 200 is the estimate there. Not a great deal of pictures there, but probably of interest to someone. We've got a vintage Takamine Takamine electroacoustic guitar, model F340 from 1984, no case. 150 to 200 the estimate on that. And we've got an Encore electric guitar there, 40 to 60, nothing too crazy. Yamaha Pacifica, looks like a left-handed one there, so 120 to 180. They can be pretty good guitars there. Line 6 Spider practice amp. If you watch this channel enough, you'll probably know that I really dislike those Line 6 Spider amps, so we'll ignore that. Vintage archtop, famous style headstock and Hofner style single pickup, 70 to 100 the estimate on that. Pictures really not too good, unfortunately. Simar classical guitar there, nothing too crazy. Two teak microphones there, a little bit out of our remit. It's a George Dennis GD60 wah volume pedal. And moving on, Windsor Eclipse Model 10 banjo. Vintage mandolin, apparently in soft case. A traditional guitar lute having 6 strings, scalloped fingerboard with carved figurehead. Okay, very difficult to see what's going on, but yeah, it does look like one of these kind of lute type guitars. Slightly more unusual actually than we normally see. Interesting bridge and sound hole. Presume that it has a bowl back to it, but not my kind of thing. 80 to 120, but it's more interesting than the normal ones we see. Here's a Bowron Irish drum. A vintage Kasuga classical there. Vintage EKO acoustic. Spanish classical guitar. Antonia Lorca label there. Traditional bowlback mandolin. No other information there. So it looks like some drums, a djembe, a goblet drum, half moon tambourine. Good mixture of things. Got a couple of amps here, looks like. A KME Quattro combo amp. New to me, those ones. Yamaha 100B212 guitar amp, late 70s or early 80s. Interesting enough. 200 to 300, seems a bit optimistic potentially. Marshall acoustic amp there, AS50R. Drum kit there, 1994 Premier drum kit. Some radio mics, can ignore that. One of the stylophones there as well. Selection of various reeds and valve oil. Okay, interesting lot there. An Armstrong Elkhart flute. Okay, interesting. And a clarinet, a Mirage clarinet. Okay. Selection of stands. A wedge monitor there by Prohl. Right, this is more of the interesting type for people. Selmer tenor saxophone there from 1964. So 2 to 3 already has bids of 1,560. So these are always popular, quite desirable. So not too surprised here. Gold-plated handmade saxophone mouthpiece even. Pete Thomas with Francois Louis ligature. Very little use. 100 to 150. It's already got some bids, so pretty popular. See what else we got here. Artemis soprano saxophone. An early 20th century C.G. Conn Elkhart soprano saxophone. 200 to 300 the estimate's already at 300 bids, so looks like a good auction if you're interested in saxophones. Lark student flute. Trevor James white metal flute there. Yanagisawa soprano saxophone there. 700 to 1,000 the estimate, so 940 current bid, so it's good for saxophones. Vintage alto saxophone stamped Busher Elkhart, low pitch true tone. Okay, 2 to 300 they got on that one. See what else we got here. Lewington clarinet. We got a Bell Cavalier piano accordion, 96 button plus 7 bass. 2 Olympic tom style drums and a snare drum, unbranded. Okay. One of these auto harps, which I'm also not too fond of. So a gramophone could ignore that. Another vintage Pietro piano accordion there. A Lark cornet in a fitted case. A Corton trumpet and a vintage Hohner harmonica there. Now we've always got to have some concertinas here. So late 19th, early 20th century mahogany cased concertina. 70 to 100 there is the estimate. I'm sure that will do well. Early 20th century Lacanal concertina. Once again, I'm sure that will do pretty well. Vintage zither frame and concertina purporting to be Lacanal with replacement ends. And 2 concertina cases. Once again, I'm sure someone will probably bid on that. Early 20th century banjo mandolin, J.E. Dallas. Oh, we've got some violins, a bit more into my zone. 19th century violin having 2-piece back. Interior paper label of Francesco Ruggieri. Sold with hard case and 2 bows. Well, I don't think you're really going to get much from these images, to be honest, but it looks to probably just be a standard trade violin of some kind. This one here, 19th century violin, 2-piece 14-inch back, unlabelled. Signs of wear, restaining. Sold with a hard case and 2 bows. Again, this looks pretty rough condition. Difficult to say exactly what's going on from those pictures, but 30 to 50 at least they are being realistic with the estimate on that. And got a few more here. Couple of 2 antique violins, 1 with bow, all as found. Looks like pretty low tier trade stuff there. A modern violin having a 1-piece 14-inch back labelled Bellolino. Okay, that's pretty weird. No idea on that. Quite possibly just a Chinese violin, I would guess. A traditional violin, 14-inch back, maker stamped on neck, mirroring R's. Okay, let's see what this is. It's getting very difficult to tell with these pictures that are not particularly great. No idea. Good luck to anyone who can guess from those pictures. Two old cases, probably seen better days. Another saxophone here, and Boucher Elkhart tenor saxophone, 2 to 300. The estimate will do 310 bid. So this is a good auction if you are into saxophones, I'd say. A 4-piece shell pack of drums, a couple of sticks, some other bits and pieces there. Vintage column speaker by the label Stag Sound. Interesting. Vintage loudspeaker labelled Ear. Okay. A set of 4 vintage column speakers labelled KF. Got a Boozy and Hawks tuba there. Let's see what else we got on the second page. Do we have much here? Washburn WB66 bass. Looks like a fairly modern one. Stage multi-core snake on drum. Okay, can ignore that. Carlsbro Cobra 90 keyboard amp there. Studio Master mixer there. Flight case. Effects rack. Vintage McGregor power amp. Trace Elliott bass speaker cab. Vintage jukebox, a little bit away from us. Vintage Hammond organ. Some stands. Some monitors. Some other bits. And that is basically the auction. So is there anything super interesting in here? Not really, unless you like saxophones, in which case potentially there are a few interesting items, or maybe even concertinas. So yeah, nothing super crazy, but it's good to look at these auctions because you never know what might appear. So that's it basically. I'll put a link in the description as always. Thanks a lot for watching, I appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao.